When the teacher was telling the story about the swans and the ugly duckling, Zach, a classmate of mine, immediately stood up, pointed at me, and shouted,
"Sounds like ugly Jamie."
Then he suddenly threw a marshmallow at me, making it stick in my hair. The whole class burst into laughter. I furiously rushed over to Zach and pressed my head against his.
"You jerk! Have a taste of my super hair!"
The boy panicked and burst into tears. I proudly glanced at everyone around me, and none of them dared to approach me anymore. But since then, I was isolated at school because of my unique look. Hi, I'm Jamie, 15 years old. I've had naturally curly hair since I was a kid, and people made fun of me for it. At school, they called me Jamie the Bird's Nest. The good-looking blondies in class that were led by Layla always blamed me for dragging the class's beauty level down. Check out our class photo from last year! It would be perfect without that bird's nest! Once, on my final exam, when I had just entered the classroom, a group of students suddenly ran up to me and shouted, "Jamie, hide away! You're in danger!" Before I could react, they dragged me into the changing room and told me to stay there. I panicked and hid for an hour until I discovered the room was locked. I banged on the door and shouted for a long time. Luckily, a teacher heard me and opened the door. I rushed back into my classroom and angrily criticized those horrible kids for playing tricks on me, but Layla just shrugged. Hey, that's because we care about you. It's bird migration season. What if they thought your hair was a nest and landed on it? And they laughed like crazy again while I got an F for missing my final exam. But it wasn't the worst that happened. At school, the girls were all crazy about Albert, the basketball captain, but one day, after finished the match, he ran to me and smiled.
"Jamie, do you want to go on a date with me?"
I was bewildered and everyone else seemed very attentive. Oh my gosh, had they finally seen the beauty of my soul? I stammered. Wow, of course. Everyone suddenly whistled and snickered loudly. Albert turned around and shouted at the crowd.
"So, how many seconds?"
Layla came over. 8. See, told you she would agree in less than 10 seconds. Then she turned to me and whispered, "Hey, Bird's Nest, do you even have a mirror? Know your place, peasant." I got so humiliated that I burst into tears and ran home immediately. Luckily, soon after, thanks to my dad's job, our family decided to move to a new place and I was transferred to another school. Before the new semester started, I decided to give myself a complete makeover and straighten my curly hair. The owner of the hair salon advised that every morning, I must straighten my hair and stay out of the water, or else my hair would curl back immediately. Just like that, I confidently came to my new school in my new look. When the teacher introduced me to the whole class, everyone was amazed. I quickly became friends with a pretty girl named Nina, and she invited me to join her cheerleading squad. How awesome! However, it was much more difficult to keep my hair dry than I thought. One day, when I was sitting in the schoolyard, Nina rushed over with a cup in her hand. Suddenly, she tripped and dropped the whole glass of water straight on my head. Immediately, I stood up and screamed at the top of my lungs. Nina burst out laughing. Sorry, Jamie. I was careless, but aren't you overacting a bit? Before she could see my hair, I quickly ran into the dressing room to wrap a coat around it. Whew, almost exposed. Another time, we had to go to the swimming pool during PE class. I carefully put on 2 swim caps before entering the pool, but while I was diving, my caps got caught in Nina's metal bracelet when she jerked her wrist up. They were removed and my hair was completely under the water. I was so scared that I didn't even dare to rise up for air. Thankfully, a black cloth was floating right in front of me. I quickly grabbed it to put on my head and rose to the surface. But suddenly, everyone stared at me intensely and... They were all burst out laughing. One boy shouted in panic, "Give me back my trunks!" Turns out that piece of cloth was a boy's swimming trunks that came off. OMG! I hurried to the shore, grabbed a towel to wrap around my head, and threw the trunks back into the water. As long as my hair stays straight, it's fine. Besides having to hide my hair constantly, everything else at my new school was perfect. I was even one of the best cheerleaders. However, the feeling of happiness didn't last long when one day the teacher introduced a new transfer student to my class. It was Layla, the obnoxious blondie who always bullied me at my old school. I panicked when she recognized me.
Bird's Nest, where's your messy hair?
I hurriedly motioned her to lower her voice and to keep that story a secret. She thought for a while, then evilly nodded. Okay, but from now on, you have to listen to whatever I say. In order to protect all the wonderful things I had at my new school, I gritted my teeth and agreed. From that day on, she treated me like a servant. She even joined the cheerleading squad and ordered me to give up the center position. That brat was so unpleasant that not only me, but the whole team hated her. One day, when the team was changing for a performance, Layla suddenly approached me with her broken shoes in hand.
My shoes are ruined. Go get yours for me.
What the hell? I need to perform too! Layla got angry, then threw her shoes straight at me. Fortunately, I was able to dodge in time, but those shoes hit our coach who was standing nearby. As a result, Layla was banned from practicing for a month straight. Right after the team's performance, she yelled at me.
If you had given me your shoes right away, then it wouldn't have been a problem. You stupid, ugly duckling!
But those insults were heard by my team members. They quickly defended me and kicked her out of the cheerleading squad. She continued to shout,
Look closely at her messy hair. You will never want to hang out with her again.
Her words were like a curse. A few days later, while I was practicing with my teammates before another important football game, Nina hurriedly ran to me and showed me a picture.
Jamie, is that you?
I looked at the picture in her hand. It was me with my rebellious curly hair back in my old days. And those pictures were scattered all over my new school. I immediately ran into a hidden corner and bawled my eyes out. Nina ran after me and said in confusion, Girl, why are you crying? Do you know how much it cost me last year to have curly hair like yours? Keep your head up. That blondie jerk should be ashamed. Everyone in the cheerleading squad also came to comfort me and encouraged me to come back to the field. I was hurrying there when suddenly Layla stopped me. She sneered. I know your secret, duckling. If you go back there, I'll splash water all over you. Leave and give me your spot. How absurd! I looked Layla straight in the eye. I spent a lot of time self-deprecating because of bullies like you. But now, your words don't mean one damn thing to me. Then I ran out onto the field and started performing. Everything was great when I stood at the top of the team pyramid and raised my arms high up in the air. At that moment, I caught a glimpse of Layla carrying a bucket of water running straight towards me.
Everyone, watch Jamie transform!
God, is she really going to do that? Don't expect me to let her evil trick come true this time. The moment the bucket of water was splashed on my head, I decided to stand still and smile, not running away. Immediately, my straight as a ruler hair bounced back to its rebellious curly form, and everyone stood up and cheered wildly. It became the most unique highlight of our performance and made me famous throughout the school. Since then, I no longer hide my curly hair, but decided to embrace it and confidently show it in front of everyone. And thanks to this special feature of my hair, I became the best finisher of my cheerleading team's performances, and Layla was never able to hurt me again.